Now, it seems that Sars boss Tom Moyane won't be going down without a fight. He's threatening legal action against President Cyril Ramaphosa over his suspension. That happened late last night, of course. eNCA senior political reporter Xoli Mngambi joining us to unpack this fallout. I see, Xoli, today the Standing Committee on Finance calling for an urgent investigation into the intelligence unit at Sars that became known as the Rogue Unit through various channels of misinformation. You once asked Tom Moyane about exactly that.
Indeed, Joe, and I actually don't want to waste any time because I want us to discuss his response to that particular question. So let's go back to that response from Tom Moyane, who gave the press conference with the media last week, and hear what he had to say.
This matter was raised in 2015-2016, when I laid a complaint after a confession. In fact, there was a confession by 2 employees, and I don't want to get into the merits and the demerits thereof. And it is common cause to indicate that the matter is now been raised by the National Prosecuting Authority. Whether I believe that this unit existed or does not exist, I think the competent authority will be able to respond to that and answer and be able to find a conclusion through the investigation that will take place. I think it would be premature for me to come to that conclusion at this point in time. Suffice to say, what you say is true, and that's the narrative, and that's the chronology of things. And I would sincerely request that we give the National Prosecuting Authority and the competent authorities like the Hawks who are involved in this matter to deal with this matter and give them the space, and then they'll inform the public. Because the outcomes will be there, and it's not for me to prejudge as to what the tenor and the tone of the outcome is going to be. Suffice to say, let's give the NPA and the Hawks the space, because they've already publicly announced this matter, for them to run the course. And then, after that, then we may come back and say, Mr. Moyane, quo vadis? And I think that's where we leave it. Thank you very much.
All right. So Joe, there you have it. And it's with interest that you're actually quoting Parliament's Standing Committee on Finance, because they are saying, they're calling on the President to establish a commission where this matter, among other issues such as the Jonas Makwakwa issue, for example, should be investigated. And just to correct that we've been calling it in the media, this so-called SARS Rogue Unit, as its official name here, Joe, it is called the High Risk Investigation Unit. Right. Now, you will know that that unit was disbanded. So the committee is calling for a full investigation of that, among other issues, in order to find out whether the disbandment of that unit was actually the correct thing to do. And remember that when it was disbanded, SARS also let go of a number of people, senior people at SARS, which then many people are saying today has compromised the workings at SARS, because they're saying that, yes, as much as we encourage the diversity and in ensuring that many people, in particular black people, are included in senior management at SARS, but it should not come with, it shouldn't be done to the detriment of the organization. So that, in as far as the Rogue Unit is concerned, let's put that aside for the moment now, and then talk about Moyane and the new leadership. Not just the finance minister, because the direct question to him was, how's your relationship with the new Minister of Finance? And of course, remember, the finance minister now is Nhlanhla Nene. So how he answers that is that he actually gives an all-encompassing answer about the leadership in its totality. Let's listen to Tom now, talking about his relationship with the new leadership at the helm right now.
Relationship with the new minister and the deputy minister? I think the question is a little bit loaded, a little bit pregnant. But let me say this to you. I have cordial relationship with leadership at all levels, at all times. I've worked with Minister Nene. I've never had any issue to raise because he's my political leader. Executive authority. Comply and work in achieving the vision that he requires in making National Treasury and Sars in the country be proud.
So to bring it back to today, Xoli, on what grounds could Tom Moyane challenge the president in court over his suspension?
Well, Tom Moyane, Joe, seems to suggest that the president, if he intends to suspend him or dismiss him from his job, he ought to institute a hearing that will be fair, that will be independent, and that will be objective, where it will allow him the opportunity to present his side of the story, because he's of the view that the president has clearly been influenced, and as a result of that influence, he has made up his mind that Tom Moyane is a goner, and that he is of the view, Tom Moyane, that actually he is even aware, based on media reports, that the president has actually even come to a conclusion to employ or appoint a new commissioner, and that will be none other than Mcebisi Jonas. And of course, he quotes the former finance minister, Pravin Gordhan, to say that he is the one that is quoted in the media as the source of this information. And so what angers him is that he feels that the president has not given him the opportunity to put across his side of the story, and that if the president wants to get rid of him, then he best do things by the book. Otherwise, this is going to be a long and drawn-out process.
Let's see how he defends this one in court if it gets there. Thank you very much, Xoli, for giving us all the background to that story. Xoli Mngambi, our senior political reporter.